Hey, what's up, everybody? This is A.L. Johnson with Elevated Men. I've got today with me a very special guest, Mr. Kareem A. Jackson. He also goes by the Minimalist CEO. This brother has done a little bit of everything. He's an award-winning publisher, an author. He does diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives all across the globe. This is going to be a very interesting conversation, so I'm glad you're here. We're going to be right back in just a second. All right, so let's get this conversation started. I'm very excited about this because this is something we really don't get to talk about very often, right? A successful Black expat. You've made it work in the Philippines. You built global businesses. And for those of you who don't know or don't remember, this is actually the CEO of the Minority Success Magazine, as well as the Black Kansas City Marketplace. And so it's a brother from our hometown who has made it abroad, and he's going to be dropping gems on us today. So I definitely want you to pay attention. As always, our shows are interactive, and we like for you to comment. We like to have your questions, and so definitely drop those in the chat. But let's get it started. For those who don't know, Kareem, who is Kareem Jackson?
Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm so glad to be here, brother AL. It's cool to be home. You guys, I'm in the Philippines Islands right now in the tropics. I'm back out here. They opened up tourism recently, and so I've got businesses out here, and I expanded my Kansas City business out here over a decade ago. But mainly, brother, I'm a Black dude living my dream. I don't want, what I do for professionally just, hasn't changed in 23 years. I got white hair and everything now. Long time for minority success, but yes. Happy to be here, bro. It's coffee time here. It's morning.
There you go. And it's 8 o'clock at night here. So like we're definitely opposite sides of the spectrum. And that's what I love about the internet, man. We're able to connect and, just make things happen. We can make it happen. And so tell us a little bit, man. I was looking online because I said I got to find out some information about this brother. I went to your website. I also saw a little information about the Kansas City Star. There was an initiative that you created. It had something to do with a form of reparations for some of the racism that they had going on back in the day. You were somebody that really kind of broke that mold. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, God, back in the day, Minority Success, brother, was some drama. It was the shit. Black business, but being Black in Kansas City back in the day, my parents and our extended families, have been working together and knowing each other, been around each other since the beginning. It's the Jacksons and the Haleys, the Roots, the Carters, of course, Carter Broadcast Group. There's the Gates, my God, Gates Barbecue. There's Dowdy, oh my God, Sam Dowdy, and then his brother was put away for, that we're all the same, group of families, right? And it was just hard doing business. And back in the day, we didn't know why it was so hard. We didn't know why. We picketed for getting contracts or government contracts, which they still do. It's crazy. Back then, I'm just turned 50. My father, my grandfather, were in business in Kansas City too. And as were all of our grandparents, we're older companies there. But it's just that you didn't really realize how much racism there was in Kansas City until they did that Kansas City Star report. They did like an internal investigation, and of course everyone hones in on the freaking floods and the baseball players and all this, the Hall of Fame, and they forget, like, no, they didn't never showcase one Black business grand opening. You feel me? Like, no, in history, you've never been able, and if you know history in Kansas City, like the Plaza and the Nelson, all those people, that they built the hype on the Star. They were in cahoots, and they leveraged that media, that advertising, because back then the Star was huge. They had TV, they had radio, everything, and the Carter Broadcast Group, I think, was the first or the second in the region to have radio. And they got against battles. There's the Call, there, which was the first. Then the Globe came, and then we were the first Black lifestyle magazine in history, and we had 500 paid Black businesses, small, large. It was not the community. We were really close with the community. We were in the community. We gave challenges to Ingram's, and we were the ones that had the first Black section in Ingram's ever before too, based off a challenge that we gave. We challenged the pitch way the fuck back in the day. So it was one of those things where they just kept Black folks out. And it was proven. And everyone focused on the social aspect, not the economic aspect. You think about this. The Gates had never really had an ad. Think about it.
Wow.
That was
Wow.
word of mouth. You know,
Yeah.
if they did, they were the top. It wasn't like you look through and there's 20,000 businesses that they market, right? And they just
Right.
didn't allow Black folks to advertise. So we lost that benefit. And when we started opening up our own, including our magazine, it was successful. If you were Minority Success, or if you were one of our parties with your business, you got customers, bruh. It was
Yeah.
effective, you know, and we missed how that works for business, and not just the money and the way that advertising works, but Black people evolving to where now you got to be online and digital.
Yeah,
We're behind.
absolutely.
We're still
Right.
behind, right? So the Kansas City Star, what they did when they denied us was they denied our businesses forever being showcased, the credibility, the exposure. So when they
Right.
did this edition, it was we went to them and we talked to them, and we understood like what they did. Oh man, and there's personal shit like
Yeah.
they blocked our printing and they didn't want us to print, but they printed some random magazine for Frank Ellis's wife back in the day. And then, Frank
Okay.
Ellis, I think his wife didn't pay her printing. I was like, it's hard, ain't it, girl? Right? Like, why would you screw over us, right?
Yeah.
And then then the only reason that you know our inside is because Frank Ellis is my mentor. I talk to him every week. So that's the only reason you even knew our numbers, our business plan, our engagement. You had the inside information because you were talking to, so it hit us personally, and our magazine was free, by the way, which,
Right. Right.
so in the last launch party, over 2,000 people came to it in
Right.
Kansas City. So it was
So,
that.
so the deal with the Star, if I'm not mistaken, that started last year, and this made national news. I actually saw it on Roland Martin. He was kind of talking about it. Several news outlets picked up this story of what you did with the Kansas City Star, so it was absolutely groundbreaking. And definitely want to commend you for that. But the first edition, was that last year, and is this something that's ongoing, or what can we look forward to there?
I hadn't seen that Roland Martin yet. I got to check that out. But
Yeah, yeah.
The section showcased over 900 Black-owned businesses in Kansas City. It's the first time ever. Recently, they've had more sections like that. They have a whole initiative to support Black businesses and professionals and artists. I think they recently showcased an art gallery recently, and they had a Christmas edition type thing. And then they also sometimes give us calls or call different people about, do you have any referrals and things for this Christmas list or this situation or this fall, which is kind of great. They're including it. They still only got about 3 or 4 Black folks in Kansas City Star still to this day, but they're doing better.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But we're not sure. I hope so. I hope that it came out. I think it was the Sunday before Black Friday. And so we didn't put out our directory because our directory is inside the Star. So we so when Black Kansas City is finalized, which is actually, we're just finalizing, trying to get our team in Kansas City set up. And then we put that out. The directory is not in there because it's already in the Kansas City Star and on our website too, blackkansascitymag.com. But we hope to do it every year. It's still online. 50,000 copies plus of this sold out in Kansas City, the hard copies. So that's a wonderful thing. We hope to do it. They need to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that exposure, man, is so important. Like, it's the difference between profit and loss, right? Extremely important. So you had all those things going on. Why did you move to the Philippines, man? You got to tell me about that. What are you doing in the Philippines? What was that about?
Let me tap on one thing about the Star before I tell you about the Philippines.
For sure.
Let me explain this about Black folks. We need to understand in Kansas City. This deal with the Kansas City Star, the power of this is, we all know Black folks ain't reading the Star. The power, and of course, the other Black media in town were like, well, why would they want niggas now? And I'm like, yeah, of course they do. They're bankrupt. Everybody wants Black folks right now. It's not a big deal. But what it was is that 900 plus Black folks got in front of white readers. That was what we wanted. We wanted Black folks to get exposure in Overland Park, Johnson County, in places like that, because you see we got food trucks and cupcakes and TV shows, and we got all these people. So the whole phenomenon was that we wanted to get Black folks exposure outside of Black folks, which is what white folks do very well. They call it diversity, equity, and
Absolutely.
inclusion. But when
Because
we
at the end
do
of
it,
the day, they get their dollar and our dollar, and we just get
thank
ours.
you. Exactly. So the
Absolutely.
whole power of
Yeah.
this, the groundbreaking DEI thing was that it was
Yeah.
reverse DEI to get us the market that they always kept us from. And white folks was happy as hell. They
Yeah.
got cupcakes now. They go into the food truck. They,
Right.
they got mixed kids. They go into the barbershop, and so I just want to make sure that caveat was there, because that was the groundbreaking part, that they allowed
Man.
us to reach their white readership, which is millions, because it was on a Sunday, by the way.
Right. And it's just one of those interesting things, because a lot of times people would lead you to believe that racism really doesn't exist and it's a level playing field. And as long as you grab yourself by your bootstraps, you should be all right. But there are legitimate roadblocks, especially when you consider that, hey, we couldn't even advertise in the largest newspaper in our city. We can only tap into about 30% of the market. And so, of course, our businesses couldn't scale to the extent of, say, our white counterparts. And so I love what you did there. But then 10 years ago, you bounced. You said, "Hey, I'm done with the United States." What was that about?
Man, you know what? I'll tell you this. One of the reasons why Minority Success had an issue was that it was the racism, but nationally, it was because we were successful. So we had AT&T, we had Western Union, we had Cadillac and Lexus, and we had Pepsi and Coke, and we had all of these. We had nice advertisers. But 2008, the recession kind of hit, and it just took everybody out, bro. And no one paid their advertising. None of the corporate clients did. And of course, alone, the Black community couldn't sustain that publication. That was what it was, right? So that hit them. But I was really close with the president of AT&T, because we featured their first Black, vice president. Back in the day, that was Anthony Tuggle, right? I was really close with the Black folks and the DEI officers, they call them now, in these corporations. And one of them, I won't say who, told me, well, brother, they hired me to do seminars at Sprint back in the day. So I would go do seminars at Sprint, because they in their lawsuit, or the case when they laid off 30,000 employees in Overland Park, they had to train these employees for another trade, like entrepreneurship or whatever, right? So I did the entrepreneurship seminars for Sprint. So what happened is that they said, well, these 30,000 jobs, but we got 50,000 in the Philippines. It's like, what? Because I was thinking, like, I don't know if anybody ever thought about the time. I was like, well, yeah, they laying off 30,000 people, but the phones ain't went down. Your phone still works. So how does that work? How do you lay off 30,000 people? And this is everybody. Remember that? This was every company in town was just laying down tons of people. And when I cut this, the Philippines was in my mind from that point. Was like, well, what do you mean you outsourced 50,000 jobs to the Philippines? And of course, so I watched Outsource, which was a movie, but they went to India. That was the first seed. And so I kept struggling with Minority Success. We went through all of our crap with paying crazy, outrageous printing costs, crazy office costs downtown. Graphic designers were $80 an hour back in the day, $100,000 to print one freaking issue of the magazine, 20,000 copies, because we were Black, right? No credit. Okay. So, we're supposed to be niggas now. Don't forget that part. So, in our parties that we would have, 2,000 people would come. Yeah, but we had to pay off the politicians. We had to pay off the police chief. We had to pay off the fire department. We had to pay off the liquor control, whatever the hell, right? Really, but we did it, and we threw badass parties. But they did all these blocks. So I went through all the crap at the company, and it was mainly, it wasn't the racism wasn't the worst. It was the printing and the operational costs, photo shoots, things like that.
So can you explain that? Just kind of how that ends up working in the publishing business when your costs are this high. In turn, you have to charge more for your spots for advertising, and then it turns our Black publications into basically storyboards for major corporations, because they're the only ones that can afford to advertise. And that, can you speak to that a little bit?
Man, how they screw over Black businesses. If you look in any advertising, one, they don't educate Black folks on what advertising is. This right here, say this was worth, if you had to buy each one of this is 16 pages, okay? Say it was $500,000 that the Kansas City Star would charge for this many ads and pages or whatever. Say it was that. Advertising at least returns one, but usually should be 10 times what you invest. So if you invest 500,000, you should be getting back like 5 million. So technically, no Black person paid for this, right? So this should bring 5 million into the community. That's how it's supposed to work. And you're supposed to make it 500,000. So what happens is we lost the economic value, which is the 5 million, right? In this situation, we didn't charge, so they got it for free. So hopefully that was a fabulous Black Friday, fabulous holiday season. You know what I'm saying? And everybody,
right.
boom. So what happens is in our situation, because we were owned, right? And you look at the Carter Broadcast Group. I love you, my family, but they need big corporations to advertise. They need franchise shows, right? To pay the bills and to live the way they live. Minority Success, we had 500 Black businesses in there. I don't care if you had a license. I don't care if you had a permit. Remember, entrepreneurship is popular right now. The Great Resignation is popular right now. Back in the day, you know, it wasn't that popular. It was hard to have your little shop in the landing. You know what I'm saying? It was hard to have your little barber shop. Nobody support, you know, we supported each other, but you know, you couldn't get in the star. You couldn't really push it, right? There was no internet. You know, we had MySpace, you know, that's all we had. So we made it for them. So then what happened was, I'm going to get some little drama. They would go after every advertiser in our magazine, the Attorney General's office, the police department. So if they saw any of the 500, then say you had a warrant or whatever, say something happened to your company, they go in your office based off what they saw in here. That's the things they were doing back in the day. So we would have put a magazine out and then find out the next week they didn't arrested 10 of our clients.
That's terrible, man. That's terrible.
Bro. It was bad. Wow. So what you're saying about the how it affects the advertising is that the community doesn't get the economic value of the advertising. That was what they were worried about. They weren't worried about, oh, if that's $1 million company and Black folks are advertising and showing and growing their businesses. Yeah, that's 10 million possibly that the white companies wouldn't get. Because now we're promoting to ourselves, you know, you know, and you don't think about it, but back in the day, you know, white folks love Gates. You know, you think what's his name, Brian? What's the white boy's name? They got a barbecue. Is it Arthur? Is Arthur Brian? Is he white?
Arthur Brian. I don't know.
He's white. I forgot.
Is he?
I think. Yeah. No, who's the white? There's a white one. I forget his name. Maybe it's closed down now. But you think he was happy? You think that if you go to the plaza, the one that's in the plaza, the barbecue place, it probably closed down now. You think they was happy, right?
Right.
You know, and don't forget that they couldn't. Gates wasn't in the stores. Remember, we knew all the grocery store owners that advertised with us. They wouldn't.
I mean, that really speaks to the resilience of Black business here, because even without the ability to advertise in our largest publication, these businesses have been around for decades, you know, and are still thriving. And so that does speak to that resiliency. How do you feel the internet has changed that? So now we've got Black Kansas City Magazine online, taking out that printing cost and everything that we just talked about there. Has the internet leveled the playing field, or is there still more work to do?
Well, first of all, hell yeah. Hey, I was able to call to my
short answer, right.
You know, to my printers, you have no idea. We still print. I have 12 publications around the world now. The online, we've always been online digital. Even back then we weren't digital, of course, but we were online. No one knew because the advertisers, the consumers didn't care. The internet came, that changed the work. So now I didn't need the offices. That's what changed 10 years ago when I outsourced my company. And
the expenditure, I mean, because you were just talking about, you know, $500,000 to
bruh,
right.
80%. Think about this. My rent was $10,000 a month in that Firestone building downtown. That's $120,000 a year just for the rent to be with these white people to have credibility and shit, right? Gone, completely gone. Like I don't even, if I have an office, it's like a showroom somewhere for $500 a month. You know, it's for show online or videos and presentation like this, right? It's a studio. That's gone. The internet back then allowed it to where I could hire graphics designers from anywhere in the world. So that's how I discovered the Philippines. I'd never been to the Philippines when I outsourced to the Philippines. So that went from $80 an hour to $5 an hour, like that. Now, of course, are they as good as us? But no one expects that anymore, right? Everyone knows templates now. Everyone knows white paper now, right? Back in the day, no one, they criticized you for those. They criticized you for templates and all that stuff. You know, you couldn't use templates for commercials and logo animations, and you know, so you had to pay these.
Now you can hop on Canva for $15, $20 a month, and
no. What it is that now you can, people, when they see a Canva ad, they don't judge.
Right.
So now you can hop on. That's what changed. All of a sudden, people lowered their standards and got used to white paper and that, because everyone, the good thing about corporate is they sterilized the market, which really screwed them in the end, right? Because now the basic barbershop can look just as good as supercuts now on paper.
Right.
You know,
right.
the
And that's
ad looks
huge.
the same, the logo is the same, all that. You know, and then you got commercials. You know, shoot, Chuck Chianuma be looking pretty good on TV in Kansas City. He looked just like goddamn Blackwell Sanders.
Yeah.
So that's what changed.
So if the playing field has been leveled, just by the internet, have we caught up to it? Do you feel like we've caught up to it?
Black folks, we 20 years behind, bro. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. Let me go back to one thing you said before, and I'll tie this in.
Yeah.
What we don't understand in the Black community, which is why I wanted a Black magazine. That was not my first business. It was my first Black business. I've had businesses all my life. I was award-winning when I started Minority Success. I'd already been Entrepreneur of the Year in Kansas City. I've already been Black Chamber. I'd already done that. What we miss as Black people in Kansas City, or in America in general, but let me just talk about back home, because it's for real in Kansas City.
Right.
It wasn't resilience that we could live off our own. That's that slave mentality, whitewash shit, right? No, we didn't need nobody but niggas. You could live off your barbershop in the hood. Niecy lived off her businesses, right? You know, if you think about it, the Spot lived off them niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't need to go to Overland Park. You didn't need to go to Westport or the Plaza. You was cool. So what happened is that we forgot that that's how much money is in our community. Now you hear about Black economic power, Black buying power, So then now the white folks are coming in and getting it. So now instead of going to the Black car dealer, right, now the number one car niggas is buying is Mercedes. What? A Mercedes? Like, okay, whatever, right? So now the internet, what it did was it's exposed how great the Black community is, how powerful, how much money we have.
It's so true. It's so true, because when you look at so you're an expat, so you left the United States, went to the Philippines, and you built business there. But people come to America and they go immediately into the Black neighborhoods, right? And then they take over the beauty shops, the gas stations. If there's no money in the hood, why is that where they go to in the first place? Right. And so we know that the money is there, but we don't realize it for some reason.
Well, I think that no money in the hood doesn't mean niggas is broke.
Right.
We just don't like our own yet. But remember now, let me tell you why. I was commissioned by the Philippines a long time ago, the first Philippines magazine. And understand this: a Black dude in Kansas City couldn't get the government of Kansas City to work with my Black Kansas City magazine. Right. But this is the same time they had the first Black mayor, Cleaver. They're the first female mayor, Barnes. We helped her win, right? So it was like, okay, but the president of another country, right, is commissioning the same Black guy, the same company, to show them how to do a magazine like this, because we were online. So I think what we miss is the fact that the world knows that the Black community is a $4 billion community, which is a false narrative. That's a false narrative, though. That's the lie America tells us. That's not. Yes, they know that you make $4 billion, but they also know that you make $400 billion for America. Remember, you a slave, right? So if you worth $4 billion, well, how much are you making for the plantation? That's the numbers you hear when you're on this side of the pond. So you'll walk into a meeting with an Asian. Remember, there's no racism here. So I'm at the meeting with the Department of Tourism, with the president's office, with the palace, with the mayors and that's not even an issue, because we're bad at what we do. And we knew all those people in Kansas City, but they still held us down. When you walk into those meetings, they're like, wow, Black athletes make $5 billion for Black teams every year. I'm like, well, shit, ain't nobody making $1 billion. What numbers you got?
Right.
And they show you the numbers. They show you, how much they got sales in Nike shoes, how much they got sales in, because remember, they're trying to mimic America.
Yeah.
Everybody's competing with America. So you're looking at this numbers going, this is like if you imagine a plantation and a slave was worth $1,000. Okay. So Mammy was bought for $1,000, but you never really understand, well, how much should they be selling cotton for?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go, oh my God, they make $1 million per year per slave in cotton, or some crazy number like that. That's how it feels when you're outside the country, because you hear the other numbers. You hear that, yeah, they make this much money, but every company that Black folks work for, McDonald's, everybody, we make them money too.
Yeah.
Makeup artists, corporations, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Remember, Black folks, we've always been diverse. Mm-hmm. We see it as, oh, Vietnamese come to the Black community and take the money. No. White folks see niggas and Vietnamese as cool together. We can't open no damn hair shop. Right? That's what white folks hear. So they hear, how do the Vietnamese get cool with the Negroes? Or how do the Mexicans get cool with the Negroes? That's what the white folks hear. And when you're an expat, what you hear is, bam, Black folks is money makers. We need someone Black to produce our videos for our artists at our label. We need someone Black to do the makeup of this celebrity in the Philippines that wants to look like Nicki Minaj or some shit. We need someone Black to consult us on how to do our website to look like MTV and BET. Right? Miss that. When you work for a company, you have your salary. You also have your benefits, but do you know the economic value that you have to the company? They know it, or otherwise you get fired. Am I correct?
Absolutely. And so the big problem is we don't recognize our own power, and we're the trendsetters. We're trendsetters. I mean, you look at Target or whatever, they got the kids rapping and dancing in the videos, and everything has a hip hop twist to it. If you want to sell, you take portions of the Black culture, and I mean, it sells. It sells. And
you
so
TikTok, brother.
Right.
Fake dance some nigga move and sing a nigga song and get 1 million views, and you ain't even an artist. There's artists all over the world. And this is a compliment to Black folks. We don't let white folks give you the wrong perspective. You got artists all over the world that are millionaires, richer than any Black singer in Kansas City, off lip syncing our shit.
Wow.
I don't mean Bruno Mars. I mean local people, like in countries working on go to a cruise ship. You'd be there like, is she really singing Motown all weekend? And she getting paid $10,000 a month.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
We created a whole economy, and we don't understand it yet. And especially from Kansas City. Kansas City is known for barbecue. They're known for, we're known for dancing. We're known for jazz. Kansas City is globally pop. Roots is in schools in Asia. That's the Haley family in Kansas City, Kansas. Mm-hmm. Shout out to fucking Senator David Haley, right? Roots is in schools in Asia. So you'll go to Asia and they be mad at white folks for you. You're like, you know this? I saw Roots. I read the book in school. You're like, damn.
Really? And so that's interesting, because here we got critical race theory as a debate right now. And so there's a portion of the country that doesn't even want slavery talked about in schools. But outside of the country, they're actually watching it in their history classes. Roots, of all things. That's amazing. Yeah. So you've been in the Philippines for 10 years now, right? So I want to get into the business side of it, the outsourcing. So you've got a book, Outsource Everything, right?
Yeah.
What is that all about? What is that all about?
Outsource Everything. I actually was commissioned by an Australian company to write this book for them a few years back. Then my non-compete expired recently during COVID. And so I edited it up and made it into my own book, and then I have it for myself now. But mainly outsourcing it's popular now. You hear about it. I think you mentioned that your company has some things that you outsource people to. And this is another place where they screw Black folks over. I'll tell you this right now. I'm the only Black person in my industry in Asia, Black American, that is. which is crazy. Okay. Um, but what happens is that 10 years, 15 years ago, the way that I saved Minority Success, and mind you, Minority Success was just a magazine owned by K & Co., right? It was no one ever, it wasn't my business, right? I had limousine companies, I had restaurants, my family, we had construction companies. I had a limousine company in Kansas City. I had a salon in Kansas City. People that know me, I've been in business a long time. I was in a Black Chamber of Commerce Entrepreneur of the Year for a house estate management company that I had. So it was always this umbrella type thing. Um, but what happens is that the outsourcing component saved literally 70-80% off of my overhead overnight. And when I got off the plane in the Philippines for the first time after doing their magazine for them, I was shocked at every company that I saw out here in Asia booming, but in America they're bankrupt, or in America they don't pay Black folks enough. You're talking about, Kentucky Fried Chicken, 7-Eleven, Fubu out here is right next to, Gucci and Prada in the mall, right? You've got Western Union, you've got all these companies. Sprint, the Kansas City Star outsources to the Philippines. And I was like, well, if I'm Entrepreneur of the Year, I'm in all of these organizations, and no one told me that I could save my business. I had 100 people working for me, save everything, save my offices downtown. If you had told me that I could not have to pay $80 for designers because you were paying, and at that time was more India than the Philippines, but you were outsourcing your graphics for $5-10 an hour. AT&T, Sprint, right? Western Union. You weren't telling Black folks this. The Black Chamber wasn't telling Black folks this. And so when I got off, I was angry because I didn't realize how many designers I knew personally in Kansas City that were struggling to get their clothes in the market when I learned Trump does not make his ties in America. Walmart, all of these companies, Gucci, they don't make it. They sent it to China or somewhere. So why didn't you tell these brothers that he could have 15 hoodies designed in his way, as opposed to going around to Garment District in New York City and picking through fabrics? You didn't even, so no one was telling Black folks this. So I wrote the book. It wasn't about Black folks. He's the white boy on the cover, right? Because, I need to redo one with Black people. There's not many of us out here, you feel me, right? But now since COVID, more of us have woken up to like, oh, wow, damn, white folks, yeah, they ain't answering their phones. Yeah. They're not worried about office rent. They outsourcing a whole app, a website. Like they're not doing anything, and they're working right next to you with the job. They're not rich, but they're able to leverage and do it because of this. And I'm going to tell you the thing that we're missing as Black folks is not the outsourcing. We don't understand money. We don't understand the dollar conversion. That's what they're screwing us.
That's huge. I was wondering about that. So what is the exchange rate like? So say $100 in the US, how far does that go in the Philippines?
Let's bring it up. We ain't poor. $1,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody knows $1,000 for your little business, that ain't nothing. It's 50,000 here. 50 to 60,000 here, depending on how the fucking American economy is going. But no less than 45,000 ever here in this country. My $100,000 printing back in my Minority Success, it wasn't that I changed anything. The dollar. So instead of me $100,000, I could 100,000 in this country was $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. It was still the same price. You feel me?
Right.
But
I know what you're saying.
It was cheaper for me to pay UPS to deliver the damn thing than it was for me to print here and deliver it from Utah, right? And no one told me that. So then what happens is that, so if you got a outsourcing, and then mind you, if you're in Ghana or Africa, somewhere like that, it's oh my God, 100 times, bro. $1,000 is 100,000 in Ghana.
So do you think it's a lack of knowledge that keeps us from following that path and taking advantage of, our currency, or is it a fear, or what do you feel holds people back? I know you have this conversation with a lot of people about maybe coming out to the Philippines or outsourcing or doing business abroad, et cetera. What do you feel is the number one fear of Black people here in America as far as getting that started?
No, I don't think there's a fear. I think they keep the information from us, bro. That's how I wrote the book.
So just a lack of knowledge?
They keep it from us. It's an active thing.
Okay.
They do not want Black folks to realize that. We're learning now. We're learning now that we can sell eyelashes on our little Easy whatever the hell store online and make a little money more than we make in McDonald's. We're just figuring that out. There's generations of people that have been broke as hell in the hood working Kentucky Fried Chicken and Turkish Chicken. They didn't realize you could just sell T-shirts, bro.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. So I know that you've got your company there. You said you have 12 publications around the globe. Where are those? Oh, I think we froze up a little bit. Okay, so while we're waiting on his connection to come back, visit KareemAntonio.com. That's actually where you can get his book, Outsource Everything, and also keep up with everything that he's doing. He's got an award-winning publication out in the Philippines, and he does a lot of business consulting and business development. And so if you've heard anything here today that you think may apply to your business, whether that's building an app, outsourcing your marketing, your digital printing, website development, etc., Kareem Antonio is definitely someone that you want to connect with because, again, like you said, that exchange rate between the United States dollar and the money in the Philippines, which they use the peso, is dramatic. And it really allows you to stretch your dollar when it comes to building your business. And so we definitely want to take advantage of that. I'm going to give him a couple seconds here, see if his internet comes back. But in the meantime, I definitely want you to also go to my page at Elevating Men. On Monday, we're going to be starting a new series where we're going to be talking about fatherhood. And so if you've listened to any of our past conversations, you know it's going to be great. Oh, he's back. He's back.
Oh, there we go. I'm in Asia, y'all. I'm really here.
Hey,
I'm like in the Spain. I said, I'm sure something happened. It's raining here too.
Okay. So what I was telling them was to visit KareemAntonio.com, get a little more information on everything that you do from business development, website marketing, etc., so they can learn how to connect with you and take advantage of the things that you're talking about, outsourcing to the Philippines, making that dollar stretch farther and really building their businesses. And so can you tell us a little bit about the app development? Because that's something that's really big right now. And it's something I'm even considering myself. What does that process look like?
We have an app tab. They can see about it, on our website. But mainly, digital changed the game, bro. For example, printing is still printing. People think, oh, it's printing dead. No, it ain't dead. Now Minority Success was free. I paid $100,000, stressed out, and it was actually free. Now it's $10, $20. And that's all over the world. I can charge $35 for a magazine in Asia, for the hard copy, because now even a folder for presentation or media kits, that's like, oh my God, it's paper, right?
Right.
But now what happened is now there's the app. So now there's the digital thing, which just literally means that you can go on your phone and you can see something. So for example, where's Kansas City? Look, here's Black Kansas City. If you can see it. Okay, you can go on the app on Black Kansas City. You can push a button. Is it moving? Yeah. And then that's their media kit on the app on their phone. Anybody in the world can see it. You can have all kind of different apps. We do apps like, Facebook is an app, LinkedIn is an app. We got, delivery apps, things that we create for clients. But mainly what happened now is that it's also online. So you can go to blackkansascitymag.com and you can see the listings of all of these people and whoever's in there. So the game that changed is that now you can reach anybody in the world with an app. That's what changed. So I don't need to just be Black Kansas City and then be Kansas City. Now I can do Black Kansas City tourism because now I can market to anyone with a phone. If you want to come to the States, you love barbecue, here's the place it's going to be. So the app, mainly we figure out what they want to do, who their market is, what they need it for. And all it does is puts whatever you want in the person's hand. You don't need to find them, walk up on them and give them a piece of paper anymore. You can do that too. That's extra. And they don't need to go to your website to see what it is anymore. And, you can hit them on an app. And then of course it's reverse. So your company can send an alert on your app. So if you have a new promo for your restaurant or new, special, you can ping your users every day with your map. So it changed that game of you don't need flyers anymore. You don't need deliver anymore. You don't need the Kansas City Star anymore, right? You don't need all of those things. Those things are all extra now. to really relate and connect with your local people. But now it's given Black people, especially from Kansas City, the ability to reach anyone in the world, just like you're buying those things from China. If you're out here, China is paying millions of people, to reach your ass in Kansas City to sell you these eyelashes.
Right. Now, listen.
How
So,
you?
so one thing I noticed, we were talking about just living abroad in general. So you've helped us understand that one, we can outsource everything, right? We don't have to be the solopreneur. And when you were talking about that earlier, say the white person at work, and they're making money outside of the job, but you just can't really figure out how they're doing it. When you say a solopreneur for any other ethnicity, it doesn't mean solopreneur. It just means they're the person running the business. They've got a team of people that are doing several things. When we say solopreneur, we're making the flyers, we're doing the graphics, we're building the website, we're making the sales, making the phone calls. And so we got to get out of that mindset and actually start building teams. And outsourcing is a great way to do that. It's definitely a great way to do
Let
that.
me tell you this too, though. Let me tell you why Black folks are the shit around the world. That's not the way we look at it. Black folks, we can do every damn thing.
Yeah.
So when you leave America in that slave mentality crap and you go around the world and you travel, when a Black person walks in, everyone knows a Black person is 10 in 1. You go to McDonald's in Asia, they got 35 people on a shift. Go in the hood, they got 7 Negroes doing every goddamn thing, yelling, "Hey girl," they know we got she got her hair done, her nails is done. It's that vibe is no, Black people can do everything. What it is though, is that we shouldn't always do it because we know that we can. We should start to get people that now we can leverage them, lead them, and manage them. But the value is we're one of the only races, especially Black Aborigines, Black Australians, there's Black Filipinos called Aitas, Black Africans. They can't do every damn thing. Black people, we can do the graphics, we can do. So it's the reverse mindset, because when you outsource, most people can't. So that's why they're outsourcing. Yeah, I'm just saying, give us a little credit for that. Yeah, we can do it.
We had a question. Robert, thanks for tuning in. Brianne, appreciate your comments. If you're watching this right now, go ahead and share this with your network, because this is information that we definitely need to hear. But he asked what app you're referring to. And so I'm going to go ahead and put his website here on the screen. If you visit KareemAntonio.com, this brother is an expat. He lives in the Philippines. He's teaching us how to outsource everything for our business. And so if you go there, you'll see that one, he's an award-winning publisher, business developer, an author, etc. But he also teaches us how to develop our websites, marketing, app development, etc. And so a big help to businesses here. But I really want to talk about this expat thing, right? Because I was going on YouTube.
I go back and forth, brother. I'm back. I still got a house in Kansas City in a car.
Okay. All right.
So I'm dual residency is what they call it. But yeah, I'm an expat when I'm here.
Got it. So I was looking at some videos of people that are living abroad, living outside of the United States, and the ability to outsource and also take advantage of the strong dollar in a country with a weaker currency is very appealing. The cost of living is also appealing. And so what are you seeing when it comes to Black people just moving out of the United States, just from a pure cost perspective, and having the realization that, hey, my business can be on my laptop, I can outsource everything, and I can live anywhere in the world. People are leaving America in droves. What is that all about?
Well, most of my company, our marketing, our shows we cater to really high-end clients and everyone, but mainly my shows cater to the regular folks. So my thing is, if you're working at McDonald's, if you're not making $100,000 a year in America, you need to be looking at entrepreneurship and traveling and going abroad. And in Kansas City, I know folks that make $10,000 a year, and the average only makes 45,000, which I make more than that in pesos in the Philippines. So that's crazy. Okay, so what I'm saying is that since we know that we're very talented, is that they need to really understand that, before you get that house, before you get that car, before you fall for all that bling bling and buying Louis and Gucci's and spending all your life on that money, I'm just saying, before you do that, get your passport and travel somewhere, because you will, even if Mexico, the dollar's 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that. So what happens is that people don't realize, if you're in Kansas City right now, you're in August. Okay. If you drive up and down Ward Parkway and you go all up and down, which all of us do during holidays and Christmas or whatever, you know, half of them houses empty and them white folks is not there. And the reason is because when you come to the expat life, most people are white. They get it. They live part of their life somewhere else that's cheaper. Or maybe they live in Europe if they're European, but technically they leave the States. They've been doing it for centuries. We're the only ones that are so loyal to America that we don't understand. Keep your house, but understand you can, if you have a salon in Kansas City, you can have a salon in Ghana. $1,000 worth 100,000. Have a branch in Ghana, because when you get off the plane and you see Fubu right next to Gucci and you see, you know, Krispy Kreme and you're like, Krispy Kreme is a 4-star coffee shop. Get the what? It makes you realize, why am I limiting myself? And I'll give you an example in numbers. I have a bungalow in the Philippines, right? They call it the Rise Retreat, and if we're not there, it's on Airbnb. But it's, I think it's $500 a month, 2-bedroom bungalow, gated community, security guards, right? It's a bungalow. It's not like fabulous, but you know, but it's like a little Westport 2-bedroom. You know what I mean? Like a little Westport house, you know, with a little front yard, backyard, you know, a little driveway, and you know, it's $500 a month to buy it, right? And I think it's, I want to say $50,000 ish is what the cost to, you know, to take care of it. A butler there, you know, I don't cook, and I ain't cooked in 10 years, bro. I ain't did laundry in 10 years. You
So
know,
you're out there looking like a king.
I mean, not even like a king. That's the part where America fucks you up too. You living like someone working every damn day. Why the hell you make $100,000 in America a year and you cutting your own damn grass? I never get that. I was blessed though with the Carters. You know, Chris Carter went to school in Africa like I did. I went to American International School in elementary. So I would tell the parents, if you can get your kids to go when they're young, to go to a private school, which of course is cheaper abroad, send them, let them go. If you can have a chance, your kids will change. I at least knew I could do it. As a kid, I grew up, you know, Chris Carter was went to school in Africa. Of course, the Haleys wrote the book. It was in Africa. We had a house in Nigeria at the time, and my father was in entertainment. I grew up with Babyface. I grew up with you know, MC Hammer and Kool and the Gang and Shalimar. And, you know, my family, my grandmother's a jazz singer in LA. I mean, we grew up with this family that was more international, so I at least got to see it as a kid. But understand, a butler in the Philippines is $250 a month. $300 a month, $350.
Wow.
And he happy. I'm paying more than the damn neighbors are. My house is a bungalow. Think I got no kids. So he rolling, you know, but I'm just saying, so you eat better, you get better food, you got better quality. They cooking for you every day. So you ain't rushing eating no damn microwave dinners and shit, right? So, okay, then you let's get the car. You know, my car, I got a little Hyundai, you know, it ain't nothing big, but it's cute. It's black. It's, you know, looks sexy when you're driving it, right? But it's a Hyundai.
Yeah,
but I got a driver. The driver cost me, you know, maybe $350 a month. I'm not driving the minis. I'm not stressed out. I'm not, and you know, so what happens is that in America, you know, I'll give you another example. I'm sorry, McDonald's. A person that works at McDonald's in the Philippines, like a you know, assistant manager, he needs one job. His wife ain't got to work. He got 2 kids at home. Off McDonald's.
Because I know somebody's got to be wondering this. I know somebody's got to be wondering this because we're Americanized, so we're used to certain luxuries, etc. And you know, the American propaganda machine through television, it shows us a certain lifestyle here, but it always contrasted with the worst anywhere else, right? And so the American ideal of, say, the Philippines or Africa is always you know, bungalows, huts. You know, there's really no city life. There's nothing going on. You're back to a village. What is it really like? What is it really like?
Well, one, Dubai is amazing. Makati, Philippines is amazing. Ghana has beautiful areas. But of course, yeah, they do have the huts and all of that. No different than America got the damn country and the chainsaw massacres in Texas. You ain't living in Texas either. You chose Chicago. You chose LA. You chose Manhattan. But if you want to go to the damn sticks, you can go to the sticks in America too. But what happens is, let me tell you this, what, at least for me, because that's where the minimalist CEO thing came from.
Mhm.
I just cut my dreadlocks off. I went through this whole and I was depressed and stressed out when I was in Kansas City, going through all that crap. When I got free and outsourced my
Mhm.
company, because forget the money, bro. I was not managing these people anymore. I'd never felt that. I've been in business since I was in elementary school, grade 6, bro, high school. I've been in business for myself. So I
Right.
had never been able to just go to the beach and be like, damn, I ain't got to look at the printer. I ain't got to look at the paper. I ain't got to. So then what happens is that when you get out of the racism and all the crap of the States, you find out that you don't need them Gucci's. Just like
Mhm.
Zuckerberg, when you look at that damn movie, I can wear the same shorts, them same Adidas slides, and a polo shirt and walk and go see the mayor. There's a
That's it.
black privilege. So what happens is there's a switch. And if you're working, it's different. If you're an employee out abroad, it's a little different because you're working with other employees. That element's still there. But if you leave and you do business, a lot of times you find yourself doing yoga. You find yourself chilling. You find yourself just enjoying life because you don't need to show off because there's no racism. And a lot of times we don't realize how much racism costs us in America. I
So
don't
are you
need
saying,
all
because I
that.
just want to clarify that. So
Yes, sir.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Are you saying that the consumerism that we have here in America is, would you say that it's
Oh,
maybe 60,
that's PTSD.
70% based off of
That's,
racism because we
that's
need to feel better about
PTSD all the way,
ourselves?
bro. That's
Mm,
PTSD shit all the way. You're telling me that you know Sam Walton, Walmart, everybody know him,
yeah. Yeah.
died in overalls.
Mm,
You know, you
mm.
see Zuckerberg, he's Jewish, shorts and flip flops and shit, walking into
T-shirts all the
board
time.
meetings. You see them doing that, and you don't register in your head. So then, why are you paying $1,000 for a suit? Why are you going and spending your child's inheritance on cufflinks and shit? Why are you doing that?
Wow.
The white
Wow.
folks ain't doing it, and then you don't think about,
Mm,
no, I like this. No, you don't like that. If you could get up and make $1,000 and not even see a fucking person, you would do it. The thing is, you know that the police pull you over, you better look good. You know it.
mm.
You know that if you don't
I've
cut your
never
hair,
thought about that. I've
you
never
know
thought
that if
about
you
it in
don't
that way.
shave your head right for about 2 weeks, you look like you in prison.
Right, right, right. Oh, wow.
You
Wow.
know it. You know it.
Yeah.
Whereas what if you looking like you was in prison? One, that's a whole slave mentality. Here, if I don't shave, it looks like I ain't fucking shaved. There is no
Mm,
stigma. You know, it's so what happens, I can go to a meeting. If I want to wear this, I ain't wearing a tie, but I got a little t-shirt. This is dressed up out here. I can go to the damn wedding like this out.
man, listen, I got to
So
hit a couple of these comments. I got to hit a
I'm
couple of
sorry.
these
So how
comments.
much
So,
money? But think about this. So how much money do you
right.
think that is? Give me a number. If you didn't need one suit,
Hmm.
if you didn't need one cufflink, if you could sell insurance, be the top one in town,
Right.
wearing a sweatsuit with your own logo on it every damn day, how much money would you save every year? Dry cleaning, everything,
That's
stress. It's
it.
a number.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so if that number is say $5,000 a year,
Right, right.
if you make 5,000 a month, that's a whole month of your life
That you're
gone,
just trying to spend not
gone
and not so much because
overnight.
sometimes we jump to trying to impress people, but in a sense,
We
it's
have
really
to.
just trying to
We
feel
have
like we
to
fit
impress
in.
people in
We
America.
have
You
to.
have to. You
Wow.
have to. You know, here, I don't have to impress you. I'm a Black American. Didn't you see me walk in? Didn't
Right,
you?
right, right.
You know, we can do everything, right? What you need? What's your city need, sir? That's
Now,
how our
look,
company
you help
talks.
somebody here. You help somebody here. So, Robert, he says you just cleared up a point for me that I was mulling over in my head. I'm about to go buy a vehicle here in the next couple of weeks because I need a new one. I don't necessarily have to get a new vehicle. I can get something
Hell
that's
no.
economically sound for me
And a
because I have no
driver.
other responsibilities but myself and my household. And so, yeah, you know what? You have got me thinking, Kareem. You got
We
me
will
thinking,
go.
man.
I
Because
had a
yeah,
$1,000 a month Tahoe in Kansas City. You hear me? When they first came out, I was waiting for the
yeah,
motherfucker when it
yeah,
first. Here,
right,
I can get a SUV Hyundai and a driver for the same price as that Tahoe.
right. But it's we
So
don't
when you
have to do
roll
all
up,
the you don't have to do all the success signaling that we have to do here.
yeah, yeah,
Essentially, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Amazing,
But the
amazing.
white folks don't either. You notice, right? I'm just saying that this. Just compare Zuckerberg.
Right,
All these. There's none
yeah.
of them. Only idiot is Trump, and you know Trump is faking it. He's the only white boy that you only see in a damn suit, right? Every fucking day. He's like a nigga. He's like a nigga. But you
Oh,
know
General
he's
Bill
faking
Gates,
it.
you see him in the little sweaters, little polo
Yes,
shirts,
everybody. I'm
comfortably.
going. You can. So as if you could sit on a beach and white linen with a margarita and have $1 million conversation, you would do it. Nothing to
Yeah,
prove
yeah,
because, and typically we don't understand how good and how smart we are as Black people. As you said, but you said it with a different paradigm. We can do everything. White
right.
folks can't compete with us out here unless they have money. If there's a meeting and there's a white dude and a Black dude, there is no one that's gonna. There's no country would choose them unless they had money, and then they're gonna make
Spirit,
sure they hire us anyway. We're gonna pay you because you got the money, sir. But you need to hire the Black people because we need this to look like Compton. We need this to look like hip hop. We need this, and they know white folks know they can't do it. They know it. So what happens is we don't really notice that about ourselves until we leave the country because we're so busy competing with white people in America, being held down by white people that we forget the Black American community overall is the richest community over every country in the world except for 15. We richer than Paris, richer than France, we richer than the Philippines, we richer than Ghana,
you're
right?
saying the brainwashing is real.
So you're so busy competing with the white dude for his Louis Vuittons, you don't realize, well, then go to India then.
And then you know what I hate about it is that we take on those ideals, and so we down each other.
Yeah.
You know, like say here in Kansas City, if you ain't driving a foreign car or if you ain't dressed to the nines all the time, you're looked at as less than. And so I really like the idea of being abroad in the way that we're accepted, that you can actually live a more subtle lifestyle, less stress free, and you can still build your business and achieve greatness, but without all the pressure.
Yeah, it's true. And what was the guy saying in the comment? You said, I'm sorry, I cut you
Oh
off
no
to
no
make a
no
point.
man, it's all good, man. It's all good. He said who's asking the guy's name from Apple? Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs. Black turtleneck, jeans, same thing every day, and well respected billionaire, right? And so we definitely have to change our mindset as far as how we look at each other and what professionalism actually means. Is it the way you dress? Is it the car you drive? Or is it your integrity in business? Is it following through with your word? Is it putting out good products? Like, because that's all that matters at the end of the day. I love the points that you made, man. You got me really excited. For someone who is thinking about following in your footsteps and they're like, you know what, this makes a lot of sense. And maybe I should have dual citizenship in a different country and open my horizons, right? What does that process look like? Dual citizenship, is it a difficult process? What considerations should they have in advance before they make the move? Help us out.
Well, one is dual residency, not citizenship. I'm
Okay.
American. Fuck that. I'm American now. Don't get me wrong now. I just know that being an American and our ancestors did not fight for us to be free from the plantation to be just stuck on plantation America. They fought for us to be American citizens, full citizens and humans in America, which means visa to go anywhere in the world without any application fee. That means dollars in our pockets wherever the hell we go in the world. It also means that we're naturally more progressive than 90% of the world when it comes to creations and business and all of those things. That's what they fought for. So if you're Black and you don't have a passport and you've never even been to Mexico, you're still a slave. You're not going to get it, right? And you need to leave and go somewhere and see, because at the end of the day, it will change you. It will change your children. They will see that, one, we're loved around the world. Loved. You hear a little racism here and there, but usually when you hear it, it's because some white person told them or did this or whatever like that. But you also see a lot white folks are scared to go more place in the world than us. Black folks, we can go anywhere in the world, Black Americans especially, and survive. So I think that they need to realize that this is not for everybody. If you're rich and you're successful in America or Kansas City, then this may not be a big deal to you. You probably already go on vacations. But if you're in America and you're Black and you're struggling and you're making less than $50,000 a year, you need to be looking at teaching or doing something abroad, because What happens is, and you all know foreigners in America that make money, send it back home to the Philippines or Mexico or wherever, and they live in like kings back home. You all know somebody. So then use that same advantage, because what I did initially, I'm a business owner. I've been in business for a long time. I wasn't an employee, so I didn't go get a job. I didn't beg for it. That wasn't it. But what I did was I got a badass website. I really invested. My company went against me. It was about $10,000 way back in the day, which was outrageous, but it was a great deal. And now that's nothing for a website. You can, and you can get them for cheaper than that. But I got a website that had everything on it: the minority success, the whole K and Co thing, all of that on it. And the main reason was I wanted kind of this is before the cloud, right? So I kind of looked at that as my cloud of my company, where I put everything that my company does. And then I just started networking. And all of the staff I got originally, there was no Upwork, there was no Fiverr. I met all of my staff on Facebook. And you understand, first of all, people around the world love Black Americans, people. They love Black folks, and if you're doing a regular job and you're not happy, or if you've got a small business in the States and you want to turn it to a full-time hustle, understand it's not that big of a deal. There's people in third world countries that live their whole life making money online, selling. So your little online shop, that's basic. So do it, push it, So, and also taking money. You need to have a way to you need a PayPal, not no damn Cash App. You need to get your little PayPal account, get your PayPal credit card and a PayPal swiper, because when I got off the plane, I could swipe a credit card with PayPal. PayPal is my best friend. I've made hundreds of thousands through PayPal. My first big client in the Philippines, which I could never get in America, was Hooters.
Wow.
Swear to God. Okay. Hooters. I couldn't even get a meeting with Hooters in America. Another big one that came in and sponsored me was the Buffalo Wild Wings. Yeah. Could not even get a meeting with them in America. But when you go abroad, all of a sudden, their staff is local. And you become the best at what you do. But the website, I think, and then finding friends that are abroad. Or if you have money, just pay somebody. Say, you know what? I'm going to open me a branch of my salon in the Philippines. Fuck it. Because at the end of the day, we don't understand as Black folks, it's another market, bruh. Yeah, exactly. We get Kansas City to Chicago. We get Kansas City to Manhattan, to New York. You following white folks. You need to leapfrog. Go to Dubai and put your little barbershop there. Go to Canada. Well, no, their money's too high. That ain't that big enough. Go to the Philippines. You weren't the money. Because what happens is it's a market. Your food, your drinks. I know that in Kansas City, we got folks with the seasonings and all of that. You know what? Forget them local ass Piggly Wigglies. Call a store in the Philippines and say, "Can you carry my product?" You'd be surprised, because remember, everyone knows that Black folks are the originals. We just don't make ourselves available because we're stuck on stupid in Kansas City because of the racism and being beat down. We don't realize. For example, Fubu could have been in the Philippines with stores a long time ago. He just didn't realize because he was so busy in New York and he got rich and everything. Yeah, but at the end of the day, the white folks took you to the Philippines. But they still like your clothes. It's still number one. You feel me?
Yeah.
So the white folks just had the plane ticket. It ain't like they made Filipinos love Black clothes.
Right.
We don't realize that, when we travel and we vacation as Black folks from Kansas City, especially, we always party and turn up and shit. No, take your briefcase, take your flyers,
go do some business.
Okay. Get to work. And go do some business. I had 3 salon branches here. I franchised here. I've had multiple businesses here, and I sold them for $1 million each. Freaking salon, $25,000, something like that, $50,000. A salon in the Philippines that was hip hop. It was called Swag. We gave iced tea and coffee, and we were the first ones really doing fades, in the province. We was doing fades, back in the day. This is 8 years ago. Sold them for $50,000 each. If you have a salon in Kansas City, do you think you could sell $50,000 right now? If you put a for sale sign outside your business, would you get $50,000 for your salon right now? No. One, everybody's broke. Two, there's racism. In America, it was a nigga selling a nigga franchise in the Philippines. I didn't solicit nobody. They walk in, can I buy one?
Wow. Wow. Man,
And
listen.
I'm just saying, it
Yeah.
changes the game. So when you start getting friends, and I don't mean girlfriends and boyfriends, I don't mean fuck buddies. I mean meeting business people, and
Right.
usually outsourcing is a good way. I initially outsourced. I had a partner in the Philippines that I met that I outsourced my graphic design to. And of course the printing, right? So I had two people. That's how I got into it. And realizing is how much. And I had left my minority success company, left it to my partners. They eventually lost everything, but I was waiting tables at the Cheesecake Factory, paying for my company in the Philippines. It
Mm.
was not my business. My business was bankrupt. I was waiting tables in the evenings and the weekends. If you guys know this, in Overland Park, Kansas, then I transferred to California, and then because that's close to Filipino town and close to the airport, I was rolling my way out, right? But I was waiting tables at the Cheesecake Factory. That's why I say if you broke, that you a waiting table was enough money to pay an entire staff in the Philippines to do something for you. You feel me? It's like if you have a salon store, you can wait tables, get your tips, or be a teacher or whatever it is, and throw a little $500 a month over here to another country, which is going to be 25,000, right? And have someone helping you, and whatever that whatever that might be for your business. But and that's the part that I slowly realized. And I was a badass waiter though, so I made a lot of tips. So you got to be good at what you do. But I did it and reinvented myself from a waiter's salary because the business was not making money. I had the credibility and the connections of that did help me, of course, right?
Yeah.
But the cash, the company was bankrupt, minority success. We're going through hell, right? Closing our offices on the news. It was crazy. And I was waiting tables in the Cheesecake Factory. And most people that I waited tables on Mayor K. Barnes, who was in my magazine. I had to swallow some ego, humble pride, baby. I waited tables on the girl that did the decorations in my parties. I waited tables on Troy Nash. I waited tables on my mama, right? And I was taking them dollars and putting them in damn Western Union.
Hey, listen, like you, yeah.
Right? And paying a designer, paying the offices, paying the people that I had there to reinvent myself over there. And it wasn't until I got the first hard copy magazine, it was actually called the Philippines Magazine at that time in California to my house that I realized, oh my God, I don't need an office. I can use a laptop. I lived on a boat at that time. I even have an apartment, right? And use my laptop and produce a magazine in another country and have it delivered to my house
Yeah.
from waiting table. I said, I got investors because they were all waiting like, no, that can't be possible. Nope,
Right.
that can't.
Right.
And this was all white folks. But no black folks invest me. They was mad at me, or they was like, but some Jewish people. And then I got an investor, one black guy, Dr. Dennis Youngblood, God bless you, a brother, friend of David Haley's. But they invested. But I got investors, you guys, we don't need offices anymore. We can publish magazines, market businesses, and do what we do without offices. This is 15 years ago. Before now, it's popular. Now everyone's walking out. Now with COVID, everyone's working remote. Back in the day, that was like you on the news.
But even with that, I mean, I have to say, like, people are working remote. People are starting their own businesses, but I don't believe that they're thinking outside of the box to the level that you have. And so the information that you share with us here is just amazing. Mind blowing. Kareem, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to speak to my audience. I really do appreciate it. For those of you that are tuned in, share this with your network because there's a lot of really good information in here. They can follow you at KareemAntonio.com. I know your website is kind of your main hub. Where else can they find you online?
Man, I got Facebook, Kareem, J.A. Jackson, the Entrepreneur Revolution's on Facebook. I got TikTok. I got multiple magazines, but mainly the website is kind of where you can connect. That's kind of it. BlackKansasCityMag.com is also us. And we're looking for partners. If you're out there and you want to do something great, we're looking for partners in Kansas City for that. It's really hard for us to find progressive-minded folks back home to understand this is for the people. This is for the community, you
Right.
know. But mainly my email is Kareem@KareemAntonio.com. If anyone's emailing still.
Perfect. Love it, love it. Hey, people, connect with this man, Kareem Antonio. He is the man with the plan when it comes to outsourcing everything and living abroad, living the life of your dreams, building your business at extremely lower cost than what you're accustomed to. And so, again, appreciate having you here. Hey, let me ask you real quick, man. Would you be willing to come back, man? I enjoyed this conversation so much. I'd love to have you back on in the future.
Yeah, and I was just going to show here, like they can go to their
Sure.
phone and look at Outsource Everything on the Google Play Store,
Yeah,
and
this is
Outsource
okay.
Everything is there. They can just download the app, or they can go on my website and get the online version. But man, I would love to, bro. I love your group. I love what you guys talk about. I'm glad that we met. And I love that your conversation is kind of taking folks global. I think that Black folks in Kansas City, we don't understand how amazing and wonderful and beloved we are, especially around the world. Everyone knows Black Kansas City people, you know, but we don't know it. And so I like that you guys have topics that have broadened the minds of brothers, you know, and men, you know, in Kansas City. And of course,
Awesome.
around the world now, right? I see you shining. I'm out here 22 miles away. I'll be seeing you. So you global already, brother. That's the power of digital.
Man, listen. Thank you. Thank you, Kareem. Thank you. And yeah, again, KareemAntonio.com. Visit him, connect with him, get the book, Outsource Everything. Man, this brother's doing major moves, man. And, you know, I just pray blessings over you, more success to your business. You got 12 publications now. You know, let's double that to 24, right?
Yeah.
So you're making it happen, man. You're making it
We're in
happen. What's
Australia.
up?
We're in Asia. We're all over the world, brother. All over the world.
Love it. Love it. Well, for those of you that are tuned in, again, we'll be back on Monday with our men's panel, Elevating Men. We've got a new series where we're going to be talking about fatherhood, what it takes to be a father, how to connect with our children, how to be better men, so that we can build stronger families and ultimately build better communities. And so that's the end of our conversation here today, but it isn't the end of the journey. And so keep following us. See you again soon.